Hello folks, this is Solo speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a double up game played with Headwinder. You might notice everybody else in this lobby has the diamond borders except for us, so making a lot of progress here on the double up ladder. In this video, we're going to look at what turned into a very close game, turned into a close and exciting game, and we're going to look at another version of a Sorcerers team composition, and one that actually features Mel, one of the 6 cost units here in set 13. I haven't seen too many of the 6 cost units. A lot of games you just never see any of them, and in other games, even if there is one that you find, it's not one that you can play on your board. So it's relatively rare that one of them ends up being a featured unit in the comp that you're playing, but it turns out that this was indeed one of those games where that would be the case. By the way, we also have a Mel encounter, which is one of my absolute least favorite ones. This is everyone gets the Radiant Blessing, better known in the community as the Stimmy, that was first introduced in set 5.5. So this is one where when you drop under 40 HP, you'll get some kind of additional payout. I really hate this one because it incentivizes loss streaking, which I've never liked. And the other reason why I dislike this one is it just throws a massive curveball into the late game, because sometimes the stuff that drops will really favor your board, and sometimes it just does nothing for your board, and like you can just get massively penalized for no reason whatsoever, for absolutely nothing that you can control. All right, as far as what I was thinking here, I did initially think of maybe playing a Sorcerers team composition, and the main reason for that is I had the Nami drop immediately. Nami being one of the 3 cost Sorcerers means that the team comp gets much more playable if that's the case. Now, typically, Sorcerers is a lot better if you can get +1 to the team composition, if you can get an emblem. It is craftable. You need a frying pan, not a spatula, but you can make it with a frying pan. And the team composition is much better because that allows you to go up to 8 Sorks. Oh, and then I get this, and then I have a Swain drop as well. And as soon as I see that, I'm like, yes, I have the early Swain, and I have the early Nami. So that means this is definitely a Sorks team composition. So I look at the different options here. I was like, all right, Tactician's Kitchen, gain a Tactician's Cape and a random emblem. So I was like, okay, this is going to give me +1, even if the emblem's not very good. I'm willing to take this just because it's +1 team size. So we're going to put the Swain on the board. There's actually a Vlad here as well. So I can actually get up to 4 Sorks on the very first round of the game. And then I can play something else as well. I could actually play a 2-star Morgana, but number one, Morg's not that good of a unit. And I actually preferred to get the Draven on the board because that will put Conqueror in play. And I'm hoping I can get some Conqueror stacks. And then I also get a Lux coming over from Headwinder. So I actually have 5 out of 6 Sorks right now. I actually kind of wish I'd been able to get +1 Sorcerer, because then I'd be able to play... then I would have been able to play 6 Sorks at like some insanely early date. But I have the +1 team size. I already have 4 Sorks in here on 2-1. And I have the early Swain, who's the most important unit to have if you're going to be playing into a Sorks team competition. Now, it's still not enough for me to win this round, unfortunately. That person had, I think, a lot more too. Now, the downside is I don't have any 2-star units. So that's holding me back a little bit. But I definitely have the pieces here because Swain is the most important unit you need to play around. And then I even do hit the 2-star Lux. So I definitely need to play this over something. And I think it has to be the Nami. Unfortunately, I went ahead and put that Tactician's Cape on the Zyra. Which is 10% chance to drop 1 gold. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant, but I'd still rather have that on the board. That said, it's not worth using an item remover just to get this on the board. So unfortunately, that's just going to sit on my bench right now. Okay, the other bad thing about this start is the emblem. The emblem is completely useless. I have a Sniper's emblem, was what rolled there. So that's not going to do anything for me. I think that the general idea behind this is that when you take this particular augment, what you're supposed to do is like take the augment and then build your team around it. And like I've kind of done the opposite here. I already had a Sorks team composition, and then I got +1 to it, and I was just hoping the emblem would do something. But it's not a fit. It does not actually do anything for me. So yeah, is what it is there. All right, I did lose the first round, but I'm looking a little better here. Oh, and I should talk about what Headwinder's doing. Headwinder has taken Worth the Wait, which is a prismatic augment. It gives you a 2-star 2 cost when you take it. And in addition to that, after a couple of rounds, it will give you an additional one of those 2-star or 2 cost units every single round. I think you wait like 2 or 3 rounds, and then you keep getting another version of that two cost unit for the rest of the game. So he has ended up getting Rel. So he has a 2-star Rel, and then in like a couple of rounds, he'll start getting more Rels, and he's going to get a Rel every single round for the rest of the game. So if the game goes on long enough, he can theoretically get a 4-star Rel, which is 27 copies of Rel, because he will continue getting one every single round for the rest of the game. The big problem with that, though, is this is a very, very, very slow-acting prismatic. The only thing, like, it will give you a 3-star version of a 2-cost unit, which is nice, but it's going to take a while to do that, and it gives you very little upfront power. So as I said, it's like a very slow-acting prismatic, so it's not one of the better ones, unless, I mean, it's kind of random, right? Because in this patch, Urgot was a big carry unit. Like, if you had hit Urgot with that, you'd like practically win the lobby automatically, because you'd hit 3-star Urgot insanely early, and then on top of that, you'd be like guaranteed a 4-star Urgot if you survived long enough. Like I said, that would just be absolutely crazy. But instead, we ended up getting Rel in this game, and that's not going to be quite as useful. Anyway, we had actually lost enough rounds that I was first pick on the carousel, which is kind of surprising to only have lost 2 out of 3 rounds, but still was first pick on the carousel. So I went ahead and took a tier. I had a sword on the bench. This is a spellcasting composition. So what do I want? Tiers. So I can build Spear of Shojin. That was a logical item to make. The other thing would have been take an item for Swain for up there on the front line, but I didn't think that that was as necessary, because I'll probably get more tank items later on, and there really is no use for a sword other than making a Spear of Shojin. It's also not bad if I have multiple Spears of Shojin, because like I'll want one on Nami long term. I'd like one on Zoe long term, and like even if I would get a third one, I could eventually put it on LeBlanc. Like all of these items are good. Because the weird thing is, like, none of the Sorc units in this set really want a blue buff, which is just bizarre. You would think at least some of the Sorc units would want a blue buff, but it's like, no, all of the Sorc units that you want to play, they all want Spear of Shojin because they all have high mana costs, so that's a little bit weird. Anyway, by the way, I probably could have been making a play for Lux 3-star if I just grabbed all the Luxes. I grabbed this one here, but I think I passed one up last round. So the Lux 3-star dream does not seem likely to happen. Now, I realized at this point the Sniper Emblem does give 150 health, so I can in fact play it on like Swain just for the extra health. And I think this early in the game, 150 health is actually worthwhile, because he goes from 950 base to 1100 base. That's a pretty sizable increase. That's about 15% increase in total health. Like, that's not nothing this early in the game, so that is something that I figure I might as well just do that and get in the extra health so I can hopefully try to win some of these rounds. I'm up against the person who is doing level up plus Chem Baron. They're going to try to lost streak with Chem Baron while also running level up. That's kind of a weird setup. Well, they got the loss they wanted, and they're already at 135 stacks. The good news for us is that team is also on 60 HP. Like, they've lost a lot of health this early on. This other team that's on 78 HP, I think, is doing maybe a little bit better job. They're also trying to lost streak with Chem Baron, but I think they're doing a slightly better job. They haven't lost nearly as much health over there. All right, well, overall, I'd say it was a fairly successful stage 2. I'm reasonably happy with my initial augment. I just I was saying during this game, the Headwinder, I was like, if there's any chance I can get Pandora's items, I would love to take it. Maybe I can get that and just re-roll the Sniper's emblem into something else. But like, I have the early Swain and I now have a Nami pair. If I could just like 2-star my board and maybe find an early Zoe, or get +1 Sorc from the next augment. +1 Sorc from the next augment would be awesome. These Gangplanks are also quite useful too, because he'll put Form Swapper trait in play. And then, by the way, I get double tiers. This is actually not something I want. I did not want double tiers here, because I already took a tier to make a Spear of Shojin. Of course, I couldn't have known I was going to get 2 more tiers on the next minion round. But this is actually verging on having... This is basically getting to the point where I'll have too many tiers. So, yeah. I also probably should play Gangplank for frontline here. I probably actually need more frontline. I really don't need more damage at this point. I need more frontline. So he should really be up in the front row to tank a little bit more for like the Nami and whatnot. I did get the initial Conqueror cash out, the one at 10 stacks, and I'm not that far away from the 35 stack one either. and we'll just see how long I want to run that Draven. I was trying to think about, do I want to make the Sunfire Cape? Ultimately, I decided that I did. I think it's a decent enough item here. The question was, if I make that, then that means I can't make a Redemption, which I was also thinking about potentially making. But for the moment, I'm just going to sit on those tiers and go from there. By the way, this fight's pretty close. Can we clutch this one out? It does not look like it because Kog'Maw's a ramping unit, and yeah, unfortunately, he had just enough. I do wonder if I'd played the front row Gangplank, if that would have been enough to win that fight. I don't know. But in any case, that's sad because that person was still level 5 and they're on a win streak, and I went to level 6 and I still wasn't able to win. All right, so the next augment's gold. Again, I would love to get a Sorcerer's emblem here, so I'm trying to see if I can find something like that. But I'm not seeing anything like that, and I was like, oof. These are actually all terrible. I definitely don't want Golemify, so it's got to be all that shimmers. I'm not re-rolling, so I didn't want that one that allows you to find 2-star 1 and 2 costs in the store. So this is not what I want, but I am able to get Mogul's Mail, and that's a pretty good tank item that should also generate a little bit of additional gold income for me. But that was not the augment I wanted. That was a bit of a low roll right there, so I was a little disappointed about that. The biggest thing I also need is I really could use more Swains. I hit that Swain on the initial minion round, but Swain 1 is not doing anywhere near as much work as Swain 2 is, and the Vladimir is also 1-star. So like my front line is very sad at the moment. Honestly, the units that are 2-starred are like the units that I don't really care about if they're 2-starred or not. I have a 2-star Draven, which I guess is nice, but he's not a Sorc unit, so he's really not that valuable in this team composition. And then, was it Nami's also 1-star, and I have Nami pair, and then the Gangplank is also 1-star. So it's like the units that would actually be helpful are not 2-starred. So, by the way, Headwinder took the Artifact Anvil, and he didn't like any of the choices he had. So he ended up taking Talisman of Ascension. He's going to end up taking that. By the way, this shop is incredible. I get 2 Vlads, I get another Swain, I get an Elise, and I'll play the Elise over the Zyra for right now. And that's great because it gives me a little bit more frontline. And what is it? It gave me another Zyra too. I bought all 5 champions there. What was it? 2 Vlads, a Swain, an Elise, and a Zyra. That was absolutely ridiculous. So that helps out a lot, and we'll have to go and see what we're doing from there. This does also open up the Black Rose option. So if I could get a whatchamacallit, if I could get another Black Rose unit, I could also opt to play Black Rose as well. But for the time being, that's not necessary. I mean, if I can find LeBlanc eventually, that puts Black Rose in play. I did another video with 8 Sorcs earlier, which was, I believe, a game that Headwinder had done, where he was playing into the 8 Sorcs. And I know I talked about in that game that Elise is a really good person to put the Sorcerer emblem on. So if I could get a Sorc emblem, Elise would be the favorite unit to put it on. Because you just play all the Sorcs and then you add Elise, and that gets you to 8 Sorcs plus Black Rose. And then on level 9, you can kind of play whatever. All right, we have the time for another Kara. So here I am second pick. I really, really, really want this Swain. That would be Swain 2-star and a Spear of Shojin, which is what I want to do with these swords. But that gets taken, unfortunately. Even though it's the first pick, it still gets taken. So I'm trying to figure out what I want here. Probably in retrospect, I ended up taking the belt. I see. I decided I would go ahead and make Redemption. I think in retrospect, taking the bow would have been a good choice here, and using one of these tiers for a static shiv, because I did not have any magic shred in my magic resistance shred in my comp right now, and I do think that would probably be a little bit better. Also, it would have been on a Vi. By the way, there is the 35 stack Conqueror cash out, which gives me a 2-star Akali, which is pretty useless. It's a shame it wasn't like a Vlad or something. A Vlad would have actually been useful, but yeah, the Akali's not going to do anything for my board. And I will send the completed item anvil over to Headwinder here. Okay, well, 2-star GP is kind of nice. That's not bad. And so now I'm going to go ahead and make, what is it? I'm going to go ahead and put the Redemption plus the Sunfire Cape and then the Mogul's Mail on Swain. And we'll move the other frontline units next to him so that they can get a... they can get the standing next to benefit from the Redemption, because it heals the target and the unit standing next to them. Now, this board has been really strong throughout the game thus far. They took Build a Bud, which immediately gives you a 3-star 1 cost, and they ended up getting a 3-star Steb. Well, now, Steb was kind of a joke unit earlier in the set, but he's very much not a joke unit in this particular patch. He's actually pretty strong. And they also got an immediate 2-star Maddie. So they've been win streaking pretty hard off of having 3-star Steb and 2-star Maddie. And then they also got an Enforcer's emblem there, Law Enforcement. It grants additional damage to all Enforcers. So they're in a pretty good position overall. And that team is has the most health and is also in pretty good econ shape as well. So we're keeping an eye on them. Anyway, here I decided that I would go ahead and put Black Rose in place. So I'm dropping Conqueror because I don't think I'm going to get the next Conqueror cash out. I think it's at like 65 stacks, and I'm not especially close to that. I go ahead and take a Thief's Glove here, and I was like, you know what? I think I actually need more frontline, so I'm going to put this on the Vlad. Other option would have been the Gangplank, but Vlad is a Sorcerer, and Gangplank is not a Sorcerer, so it seems like I should be continuing to play through my Sorc units where possible. I would like to get some rods at some point in time, because when you're playing a sorcerer or spellcasting team composition, you typically want rods for more AP, for more damage. Most of the good items build out of either a rod or a tier, and I kind of already have enough tiers to last me forever. One other thing I'll mention, I did get a full champion duplicator. I didn't see exactly where that dropped from, but yeah, I ended up getting the full champion duplicator, so I can use that on like a 4 or 5 cost unit later on if I want. By the way, Elise got off her stun before she died. Very, very nice stun that she got off. This is an ambushers board, and it has a Smeech running around the back lines killing things. But fortunately, I was able to wipe that unit out. Now their partner is going to come over and reinforce, but it looks like their partner doesn't have that much. And so far, Swain has really just been carrying me. Oh, one more hit on Swain for the gold coin. There we go. Thankfully, Zeri shooting at Swain generated one more gold coin from the Mogul's Mail. The Mogul's Mail generates a gold coin when it hits 35 stacks. Every time the unit gets hit, they get a stack. At 35 stacks, it generates a gold coin. And I believe it's like every 5 or 6 seconds after that, you get another gold coin. All right. So again, as mentioned, we're playing a Sorc's team composition here. This is a very straightforward trait. The Sorc trait just grants ability power. Your whole team gains 10 ability power, and then it says Sorcerers gain more. So the deeper you play into the trait, the more ability power you get. Right now, this goes up to Sorc's 8. The next patch that's about to come out is going to change this so it only goes up to Sorc's 6, because Sorc's 8 is a little silly. By the way, I go from Swain 1-star up to 5 Swains in like an instant. So at this point, I was like, all right, well, I will definitely look to play that. I also am going to get an Elise coming over from Headwinder, and I will now go ahead and play up to the 6 Sorcs. I will drop the Cassiopeia, and I actually do get another sword here, so I can look to go ahead and make another Shojin. And I am perfectly content to have a Shojin on both Zoe and also the Nami, because they're both going to do good damage here. And then I have this leftover belt, so I was trying to question. I was like, should I make Morellos here? Is that worthwhile? I think it's actually pretty good on Zoe. Her ability hits quite a few units on the enemy team, so I think that's pretty good. Now I'm up against this person who has double bruiser emblems. I was like, oh man, double bruiser emblems. That's a lot of health to be having on your team right there. So I'm pretty sure I would beat this board because they have a lot of health, but their damage is low. But then I get reinforced on, and I was like, okay, not going to beat both of these boards. That's definitely not going to happen. Headwinder's going to come over, but can Rel kill everything? That's Talisman of Ascension, 3-star Rel. Can Rel kill all of these units? I think if she got on Zeri, she actually would win this, but Zeri was dancing away out of reach, so that's a little unfortunate. Now it's time for the final augment. I'm looking through here. I was like, I don't really like these. Maybe Sated Spellweaver, but then, oh, okay, Pandora's items. Remember what I said earlier? I was like, I want Pandora's items. This emblem is currently useless, but maybe I can get it to roll into something useful. Then I get double bows, which I don't really care that much about. I probably should have put one of the bows on Zoe, because I do want to make a Gnasher's Tooth, which will be quite good on her as well. So I probably should have put one of the bows on her. Oh, and by the way, look at these other teams. Look at all these items they have. Yeah, those teams that are on 39 HP and 34 HP, they have just gotten the Radiant Blessing, i.e. the Stimmy. So we already know it's going to give like a big jackpot full of stuff. So we're going to be having to play down like a ton of items against both of these teams. And that's just super frustrating. We have to throw away like 30 additional health to get the same thing, which is just dumb. So now those teams, because they have played poorly and lost a lot of health, now they just get massively benefited by getting huge item drops. I don't know. I already dislike traits like Cambaran, lost streaking traits, and the Radiant Blessing just makes them even stronger. The good news, though, is I was able to get up to 6 Sorcerers, and, like, that's a big spike. Right now, 4 Sorcs, which is what I was at before, is 55 ability power for all your Sorc units, and 6 Sorcs goes up to 105 ability power, so it basically doubles it from 55 to 105. If I could somehow get an emblem, which would most likely happen from this Sniper's emblem rolling into a Sorc emblem, then I would be able to go up to 8 Sorcs, which is 150 ability power. And Sorc abilities also reduce their target's damage by 25% for 3 seconds. So it's also a damage debuff for the enemy team if you can manage to hit that. All right, so these items from Pandora's items, not particularly helpful. And the emblem is now rolled into an Automata emblem, so that's not going to do anything for me. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, I wanted to roll into a Sorcerer's emblem, but I think the odds of that are like 1 in 16 or something like that, or like somewhere around there. I know there's 16 craftable emblems, but I think it can roll into some emblems that are not craftable. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, lucky me, I get to hit someone who has like a billion items on the bench. I think that they're reconfiguring where they want their items, so I'm glad that I'm hitting this person while that happened. Maybe they're like AFK or something, but whatever the case, I'm not going to complain. They don't have any items on any of their champs, and you can see they get bowled over instantly because of that. And because I win quickly, then I can go over to Headwinder's board and help reinforce him. And so we win both rounds just in time to get last pick on the carousel. So yay, hooray for that. Again, I have the Pandora's items, so I can basically take anything. I was going to take the Malzahar if it was still there when it's my pick, because Headwinder's playing into Visionaries. He has the 3-star Rel, so he decided to go into Visionaries behind that. And out of these other options, I was like, okay, again, I have Pandora's items. They're going to re-roll into pretty much anything, so I just took the tier, largely because it's on a 4-cost Echo, and we can just see what that... If we want the tier, we can take it. If not, we can let it re-roll into something else and look to go from there. All right, so let's see. I get the bow, and I was like, bow plus tier? Do I just want to do I just make the static shiv here? And I believe that I do out of these items. I'm trying to remember. Or I put the bow on. Maybe I was saving for a Gnasher's Tooth, maybe. All right, so what I'm looking for here are I'm trying to find more units that can fit my board. I do have the 2-star Elise, so that's pretty good. And now I have 6 Swains, so I'm actually pretty close on Swain 3-star, which would be a big hit for my team. Remember, I do have a champion duplicator up there as well. As far as what I'm looking for here, I'm trying to upgrade my board. You could make a case that I should have tried to rush level 9 here, but the main thing I was looking for was more Zoes. That's right. I have Nami 2-star, but I really did want to try to get Zoe 2-star, and I don't think anyone's playing a straight-up Rebel board here, so I do think it's possible to find her. I also could use a little bit more frontline there. So unfortunately, I fall to the Zeri 3. I did kill everything else on that board, but couldn't quite hit the Zeri 3. And of course, I do have that duplicator as well. All right, time for the anomaly round. The 30 AP, I don't need more ability power. Like, I already get a billion ability power. Oh, anyway, so there's the Gnasher's Tooth. Remember, I already get a billion AP from Sorcerer's Trade. I don't need more ability power. I'm actually really looking for something for Swain, and I see this. Deep Roots gain, 700 health, 25 armor, 25 magic resistance, and you pull enemy units towards you. Okay, so we're still looking for something here. Again, I really want the Zoe, and then, oh, well, I found a Mel. Okay, that's certainly lucky. You have very low odds this early in the game to hit Mel, but that is a unit that I 100% would like to make. So let's see what we can do here. I go ahead and put in a Spear of Shojin on her, and then I have to decide what else and then I'll go ahead and put the Rod on her as well, because that way that item will not reroll via Pandora's items. Let's see if we can make use of this. Now, I still need to get another Zoe, so I really do want another Zoe. That's why I'm still rolling here, but I've been able to slot in the Mel, one of the 6 costs. Let me go ahead and read her what her ability description does. All right. Her ability is called Conduit of Magic. Dash to a nearby hex, then gain a shield and grant the same shield to 2 nearby allies. 50% of the damage blocked by shields is stored as unstable energy. After dashing, deal magic damage to 3 nearby enemies. Every third cast, unleash the unstable energy as magic damage split between the 5 nearest enemies. So you get the idea. She has very low mana cost. I believe her mana cost is 40. Let me double check. Yes, her mana cost is 40. So blue buff is quite good on her. She dashes around. Every time she casts, she puts a shield on nearby allies. And then she also deals damage. Every third cast, she unleashes additional damage, and that's her big damage spike. Well, look what my emblem has rolled into. It's rolled into a Black Rose emblem, and I was really thinking, like, should I just let this continue to re-roll and try to get the Sorc emblem? Because if I could actually get a Sorc emblem to roll on Mel, that would be absolutely absurd. But I decided that would just be too greedy, and I go for the Black Rose emblem instead. So Black Rose is quite nice for me. It puts Scion back on the board. And in addition to that, it's also going to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's also going to allow me to get Black Rose 4 if I can find LeBlanc, because LeBlanc is Sorc plus Black Rose. Now I'm able to pull a tier, so I'm going to go ahead and look to send the Heimerdinger over to Headwinder for 2-star Heimer over there. And I do have the items for a Ionic Spark, so I'm going to look to go ahead and make that. We're going to put the Spear of Shojin back on Zoe, the Morellos on Mel. We'll put the Gnasher's Tooth on Zoe, and then I'll go ahead and make the Ionic Spark. I wish I had it on a slightly better person than Elise. Elise is not terrible, but she does tend to die relatively quickly in these fights. I guess she lasts long enough to get some of the Ionic Spark magic resistance shred on the enemy team. So anyway, I thought I was going to win this fight. I did win the last fight with Mel in it, but it turns out that I'm going to get reinforced on, and so with 2 boards against me, I get slammed pretty good there. There wasn't a lot I could do against both of those. Now it's the gift round, and it's a very expensive gift round. It's unfortunate that I can't send the Tactician's Crown. I just do not have the gold for that. But I'm going to send the 2 completed items, and this is going to help Headwinder out, but it's going to bankrupt my board pretty badly here, because it's going to make it almost extreme. It's going to make it extremely difficult to get up to level 9. So that is a bit of a trade-off there, but it's definitely going to help his board. All right, so I definitely want the LeBlanc. I'll play that over the Zyra for right now. Again, I probably should be playing Gangplank for frontline. I really don't need him for damage. I need him to tank. But unfortunately, I roll down to 0, and I still don't have 2-star Zoe. Again, I do have the Duplicator here, but I was like, you know, I'm a little hesitant to commit the Duplicator here, because if I could get another LeBlanc, if I could get 1 LeBlanc, I could then use the Duplicator for LeBlanc 2-star. I also have a lesser and a full champion duplicator, so if I could get 1 more Swain, I could double duplicate it for Swain 3-star. That's a little bit wasteful to do that, but by the same token, Swain is my main tank, so like by making him 3-star, that would be a really big deal in some of these fights. And the ultimate thing I could do is, if by some miracle I saw another Mel, I could duplicate the Mel for Mel 2-star, which would be absolutely insane. All of her values go up by a lot when she's 2-starred. Yeah, all of her numbers like double or more than double when she's 2-starred. Normally to go from 1 to 2-star is like an increase of like 50%, but she has like all her values basically doubled when that happens. So anyway, I'm still rolling here. Oh, we're going to get the Radiant Blessing right here. So I was like, okay, what does the Radiant Blessing gives us? Well, it gives us a spatula, okay, and a Reforger. So I can reforge that into a frying pan. And now I need the frying pan to, now I just need to get a rod. And I was like, I just need to get a rod. And just like that, I will have a Sorc emblem. So I'm trying to make Sorc emblem Mel, but I need a rod. And I was trying to pull component anvil from the gift round. I was like, if only I could have gotten this from the gift round. Only I could have gotten a rod. Instead, I have no rod available as an option. But then I was like, wait a minute, I have Pandora's items. So this tier, this glove, and this belt on my bench, all I have to do is wait for one of them to roll into a rod, and then I'll have what I'm looking for. I also realized in retrospect I probably did not need to reforge the spatula. It would have just turned into a frying pan on the next round on its own. But yeah, I think it would have just re-rolled into a frying pan on its own. And by the way, I get absolutely bowled over by that ambusher board. So now we finally have the Radiant Blessing as well. But it turns out everybody got a spatula from it. And the value of getting a spatula or a frying pan on like stage 4 is so much higher than on stage 5. Because earlier on, you can like actually craft the emblem you want. The only reason I can do that is because I have Pandora's items. I can kind of do that. But Headwinder, like Headwinder's never going to get any more components at this stage of the game. He just has a spatula that's useless for him. So the Radiant Blessing really kind of missed his board completely. The good news is it did not miss my board because I have Pandora's items. I was able to take another Black Rose emblem off that carousel. So that's going to allow me to play another tier of Black Rose. And there it is. There is the rod. So Sorc emblem, come on down. We're going to make Sorc Mel. Now we're going to take the Gangplank off the board. This does cost me forms. Oh, no, it doesn't cost me Form Swapper trade. I already had Form Swapper from Elise. Oh, that's right. I hadn't mentioned this in my commentary before, but what I was actually planning on doing was I was going to go to level 9, and then I was going to play 4 Form Swapper. I was going to try to find Jace and play 4 Form Swapper. And by the way, there is another Swain, so we're going to double duplicate him. I looked at this, and I was like, everybody in this lobby spiked super duper hard when they got the Radiant Blessing. I need to get stronger right now for us to have any chance. But now I have 8 Sorcs, 5 Black Rose, and the 3-star Swain to anchor my front line. So I got way stronger there. And sadly, Headwinder the Radiant Blessing it gave him like a spatula that he couldn't do anything with. So unfortunately, he didn't spike as much. But we're just going to have to hang in there because you can see this is an extremely close lobby. I mean, I would have won this fight, but I got reinforced on. And can Swain kill all of these units? I don't think so. The Mogul's Mel is generating a lot of gold, but no. And by the way, Mel did 10,000 damage. Yikes. I mean, this is a Mel with 150 ability power, which is just ridiculous. And all right, I finally hit the Zoe too. Now I can look to try to go level 9 and play some other unit. But I do think my items are a little bit wonky here. I really should have that Static Shiv on the Zoe. Yeah, there's the Static Shiv should be on the Zoe. Her items are not like best in slot, but they're pretty serviceable. Because she has the Sorc's 8 in, she gets an absurd amount of ability power, 150 ability power from her traits. So she really doesn't need like a death cap or anything like that. She just needs to cast as fast as possible. And the Nashor's 2 Static Shiv Shojin actually does cause her to cast pretty quickly because she has a lot of attack speed. And then she generates the extra mana with the Shojin, so that's not too shabby. Of course, the Mel is really this featured unit. I mean, Mel is just, like, her ability just does absolutely insane damage. This person had, I believe, an 8 Enforcers board with Enforcer Victor over there, but, like, it just doesn't matter. I still cut through that board anyway. Come on, Mel, get off your cast. But I don't think she can kill everything on that board, so, okay. I win my half of the round, but I wasn't able to win Headwinder's half of the round. So we go to 1 HP, but here is the key news. Note what did not happen. We did not have a message popping up saying, be careful, one more loss and you'll be out of the lobby. So we are actually on the fake 1 HP. And what we mean by that is we actually do not go out of the lobby on a loss. We can actually afford to lose one more round and we will not be eliminated. So that's really good news for us that we're on the fake 1 HP. That's a huge difference between being on the real 1 HP and being on the fake 1 HP. Like, that makes a very, very big difference indeed. Okay, so now it's time to pull something from the item anvil. And oof, these are really not the items I wanted. I mean, really, really not the items I wanted here. So I was like, you know what I really probably should do is take like the red buff and just put it on Nami, because that has some decent synergy. Instead, I ended up taking the Spear of Shojin because I wanted to move this Thief's Glove over to LeBlanc. But, I mean, you can see the items LeBlanc rolls. And then, like, the only thing I can really do is put another Shojin on Nami, which I guess is okay. But that really isn't what I wanted. I kind of wanted either, like, another AP item, like Jeweled Gauntlet would have been really good. Or, alternately, I would have wanted a tank item for Elise, but, like, the only tank item was Evan Shroud, which is utterly useless for my board. So that was not it. Good news is I'm now beating the Ambushers board. Mel got off a great ult there at the last second to hit multiple people on the team. And now can I get over to Headwinder's board? It's actually really important we win this round, and we do. So now, oh, look at this. Everyone in the lobby is on 1 HP. Literally everyone in the lobby is on 1 HP, except we are still on the fake 1 HP. So we actually still have 2 lives here. It's like we really have 2 health, not 1. And look at this. Rel has finally gotten to 4-star. Headwinder just got the 27th Rel to get Rel 4-star on his board. And the Malzahar I just sent him made Malz 2-star. So he actually got a lot stronger here in this round. So we're like, all right, let's see what we can do here. I'm just going to shuffle around, and I'm up against the person who got a big Chem Baron cash out. They're running 7 Chem Baron, and like that Rennie is unbelievably tanky. So this is a really nasty board, but 8 Sorks does have a lot of power, and that 3-star Swain is really strong over there. So Mel, I just need you to keep casting, keep casting, keep casting. Unfortunately, I'm getting reinforced on, but it looks like they didn't really bring that many people over, so I am going to win my round. Headwinder lost his, but it didn't matter. That's it. We were on the fake 1 HP, so we had another life left. And the fact that I was able to win my round meant that we knocked out a team, and then the other team got knocked out at the same time. So we are going to take the first place finish. And in fact, I'm even going to get promoted to Diamond 4 here in double up mode as well. So that was a really fun game. Obviously, it was a bit of a high roll. Without hitting the Mel, we probably come in 3rd in this game, so we definitely got a little bit lucky. But like the Pandora's items to get me the Sork emblem, playing 8 Sorks with 8 Sork Mel, this one was a lot of fun. And I even had the double Black Rose emblems on top of that. So a wild game, a crazy game. I hope this one was fun to watch. Until next time, take care, folks. I'll see you again soon.